Determined divas of destiny. You're in the hands of good company. You're gonna be who God says you'll be. You are our number one priority. Determined divas of destiny.
Good evening, good people. It is Yvonne, the motivated man from Determined Divas of Destiny on Rudy Radio, powered by Strong Island Entertainment, StrongIslandRadio.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Before I get started, I have to thank my sponsor, who is Joseph Slinger Haskell Funeral Home, right here downtown lovely, sunny Amityville. Se habla español. There's also some happenings around town. If you have nothing to do on Saturday, please join the Bread of Life World Outreach Ministries as they have crab legs and comedy. It is $55 for the ticket. It will be at Bijou in Lindenhurst. I'm sorry, Michelle, did I say that right? Michelle is the owner and operator. For more information, please call the church at 631-253-2117. Once again, that's 631-253-2117. Ask for Joanna or Zach, and they will help you with purchasing your tickets. Also, Saturday at 5 p.m. until 9 at the Wheatley Heights VFW will be the Daddy and Me Father and Daughter Dance. If you are a dad and you're looking for something to do with your daughter, please have a date with her on Saturday. Come on down to the VFW in Wheatley Heights. It is $25 per person. The food will be good. And guess what? I will be your host. So for all of you guys that have daughters and you just want to spend some time, this will be a great, great event. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you my guest this evening. It is Dr. Solomon. Now, she is not the doctor you think that she is. She's not one of those with the white coats and stuffy. She's down to earth. She knows her craft. And she has a lot of good information. If you were looking at the advertisement for today, it talked about mental health, not mental illness, mental health. And your mental health are your thoughts, your ideas, things that are in your mind, and a lot of them keep us from going forward. We're stagnant. We don't know why. We have brain fog. It's that mess up in your head. So today, we're going to conquer some of that stuff. Dr. Solomon is going to give us some tips on positive thinking and just trying to wash all of the debris off of our brain. And please, please, please call in. The number is 516-945-9099. Once again, the call-in number is 516-945-9099. Welcome, Dr. Solomon, to Determined Divas of Destiny.
Oh my goodness, it's such a pleasure to be here with you. I've been looking forward to it, and it's just been so busy for us to be able to connect, but God is good. We're here together.
Wonderful. Please tell my listeners a little bit about how their thoughts just keep them in a place of unproductivity and some things they can do to pull themselves out of it. We're going into 2020. We discussed this before. Divine manifestation, clear vision. Want people to just have their head right so they can just do all of the stuff that they need to do, because there's people waiting for it. There's people waiting for your business. There's people waiting for your not-for-profit. There's people waiting for your idea. And the longer you take to do it, the more these people have to wait. People are suffering because you just won't do it. So we want to unlock that place inside of you that keeps you from doing it. So how do we do that, Dr. Solomon?
Well, it's so important that we understand that it's imperative that we also have checkups from the neck up. We're so used to having checkups from the neck down. And as a result of that, we fail to do the checkup from the neck up. And basically what that is is you really checking in with your thoughts, your emotions, your mental health well-being, ensuring that you've been able to filter out some things. A lot of times our mind gets clogged with issues, with life issues, and undealt with trauma, undealt with anger, rooted issues. And those rooted issues that have not been dealt with, we compartmentalize those issues, and we compartmentalize them in a part of our brain that's called the amygdala. And the amygdala is so, so powerful. I love God's wiring of the mind and the brain, but this particular part of the brain, very little in the back, is responsible for recall. And so what the particular amygdala does, it doesn't matter if you've had or if you actually went through an event, whether good or bad, it's stored there. And every time you process new information or you encounter something new, it actually releases in your body physiologically all types of feelings and thoughts associated with the memory that's stored there. And so that's why it's so important for us to be able to clear our mind, clear our thoughts, because I'm quite sure all of us have actually encountered some times in our life that we've been through some trauma and we just said, oh, I'll just pack it away. And we don't understand that at any time that, it continues to seep out in different areas, of our life.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying
It's
to hook
okay,
up my
no
Facebook,
problem.
and you got a rebound from you.
Yes.
But I like what you say that we have to refresh our minds. We have to get rid of all of the old stuff. Sometimes you hear something when you're younger and you carry it forever. Like someone could have told you you're ugly. So now you're an adult, and when you look in the mirror, you don't see beauty because you were told you were ugly. So you're just assuming that was the truth. But looking back as a beautiful person, but you can't embrace that. And when people say to you, oh, you're beautiful, you shy away from that because no, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Well, none of us are.
Not at all.
And you don't have to be a brain surgeon to be in business.
Absolutely.
Or to live your dreams or to access them.
Absolutely.
But what we have to do is start clearing our mind. It's like a computer. Like you have to, like my phone right now has so much stuff. It's telling me you're going to have to remove some stuff.
Right.
Your
Make
space
room.
is almost full. How do we make room after all of this junk that's packed in there? I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that. I'm not. Because that's what we tell ourselves all the time, what we're not. We're not telling ourselves what we are. So how do we get to the point to remove the I'm nots and just saturate ourselves with the I ams?
One particular scripture that always comes to mind, and it is, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And we, like you said, oftentimes we're unable to feel that way because the seed has already been planted in our lives. And whether we know it or not, we didn't know how not to water it. And so those words have actually grown with us over time, and they've actually taken up so much room. But in order to begin to filter yourself out, you have to be intentional and getting better, intentional in wanting to really overcome your issues. And that means that you have to really tackle fear.
I was just going to say, how do you get intentional with your feelings? So you have to tackle fear. I know that years ago I heard it, fear, false evidence appearing real. So the thing is, we're fearful of something that we probably haven't even tried.
No. Right.
But we feel as though we can't do it.
Right.
So we're just scared.
Well, that fear actually is rooted in the journey we have not taken back. So many of us are so afraid to take that journey back because being associated with those feelings again makes you feel anxious, right? But when you're intentional in your reason and your rationale to take that journey back in order to reprogram yourself and your mind as it relates to what was said to you, what was not right, what was not right, and what you know of yourself, that has to be filtered out. And also filtering out your emotions related to the words that was said to you, related to the experiences. Oftentimes in our communities, we have been taught to really stifle ourselves. Be strong when someone is grieving, or, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So all of these historical ways that we have been compounded in, just keeping and compartmentalizing our feelings and thoughts. It really takes your ability to be intentional in going back there with a purpose. And you have such a wonderful life coach here that's able to help you. She is the motivator, and oftentimes we have difficulty being motivated on our own because it's rooted so deep. These foundations have been broken to the core, and oftentimes we heal on the surface and not to the root, and we wonder why we're continuously having the same thoughts and feelings that we thought we were delivered from, we were healed from, that wound has gone, is because we have not went to the root of the issue. And the root of the issue means that you have to take that journey back. You have to go back and be able to acknowledge, yes, it did hurt me. Yes, I was impacted. Yes, these experiences triggered me to act out in certain ways, and be able to be okay with the fact that you're not perfect.
Right. See, that's our problem. Our problem is we're always looking for perfection.
Absolutely.
So if I can't do it perfectly, I don't want to do it. But if nobody's ever done it, what is the perfect way to do it? Like
Absolutely.
People say to me, well, I can't do something because I'm not a professional. And I'm like, you know what the difference between a professional and amateur is? They say no. Amateur and professional does the same thing. Professional gets paid for it.
Absolutely.
So when people hear that, they're like, oh, my goodness, that's the only difference? Of course, that's the only difference. You can run around here and sell houses all day long, but if you don't get a penny from it, you're not a professional real estate agent.
Absolutely.
We also put ourselves in boxes. We limit ourselves. But that goes back to what you said about our thoughts and our ideas and all of that other stuff. If we didn't have that surrounding us, then we wouldn't worry about staying with. It's like the electric fence, like the dog won't go out of
absolutely.
it. So our thoughts keep us in those boundaries.
Confined, yeah. And as you were talking, it came to me. We often self-sabotage. Ooh, did I say that word? We self-sabotage. And what I mean by that, oftentimes because we feel as if we won't be able to accomplish something, or we don't believe that it's going to last, or we don't believe that this relationship is good, or this job is good, we try unconsciously sometimes to take it to a level where a person will leave you or the job will fire you because we're not comfortable with success. We're so used to failure. We're so used to feeling as if we cannot be motivated to do anything. And that type of action is caused by self-defeating thoughts. Self-defeating thoughts.
Purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're really beating ourselves up.
Absolutely.
For no reason.
Absolutely.
We're in a fight with ourselves. We're thinking it's everybody else that's against us, but they're not. We're against ourselves. And no one can get in there. You spoke about relationships, and I know for women, one of the biggest things is rejection.
Ooh, and abandonment?
Yeah, he left me.
Yes.
He left me. I'm getting ready to be the devil's advocate, and y'all can throw javelins at me because I
got her. Watch out.
I'm thick-skinned. A lot of times we put ourselves in
Toxic
relationships we had no business being in, and then when it turned to be a bust, oh my goodness, he left me. What I really hate is he dogged me. No one can do anything to you unless you let them.
Right.
And he left you. And I was listening to Sarah Jakes this morning, and she was like, you better thank God for his protection and stop looking at it like a punishment.
Absolutely.
And that thing blew me away, because a lot of times I'm like, oh God, I'm trying to serve you. I'm trying to do what's right, but this just isn't going right. And I feel like I'm getting beat up because of it. You're being protected. And you were saying also that we never go back and do the work.
No.
Because we go from one relationship to the next one.
Yeah.
Instead of just stopping, evaluating, taking some time to Woosah.
And can I tell you
know?
something about that? And then the wounds that we've actually carried from childhood, from adulthood, from the relationship, we're bleeding and oozing, and then we attract people who have the same type of scent, bleeding and oozing. And that's where the toxicity comes in. And you wonder why you can't get out of a situation because there's some areas that you haven't healed from. And those areas that you haven't healed from, they have helped you through because they're a little healthy in that area. But the areas that they're unhealthy in,
Right.
you're healthy, and that becomes the codependent relationship. So oftentimes when we don't go back and clear the clutter, we don't heal from the wounding, we begin to bleed on people that didn't cut us.
Wow. And also what I've been noticing when women talk to me, I'm like, it's the same dude. He just has a different face, a different name, different eye color, statue, but it's the same dude. Oh, well, my ex-husband was like this, and the guy after him was like this, and you told me about 4 men that have the same attributes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is what not only you're attracting, but you're attracted to. So if you're not getting success in relationships and you're dealing with the same person over and over again, it may not be it may be you.
Yeah.
And we never look at ourselves as
Yeah.
being the problem.
Yeah, the inner me, the enemy, the
Yes.
inner me. Inner me is the enemy.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we're sleeping with the enemy, which is the inner me, because we really don't want to really deal with the inner me, those inner thoughts.
Right.
You know, those, I call them untamed emotions. Those emotions that actually we have not, we are afraid to actually deal with because we know those emotions are untamed. Anger.
And they run
Rage,
wild. Just
and they
running
run
rapid.
wild, right, right. And they hide under your shadow. We all have that shadow. And that shadow, if you don't deal with it, it becomes to overtake your sun. And that's how the brain, and that's how mental wellness turns into mental illness.
Can
That's
you
the
say
connection.
that one more time?
That's how mental wellness turns into mental illness. Just like we are physically well, and then when we don't take care of ourselves, we don't put on the appropriate clothing, we can get physically ill. The same concept.
Yeah.
It's just a different part of the body.
Right. So we're doing more damage to ourselves than anything we could think of. It's not environmental. It's us.
It's us.
It's us.
It's us.
We're really putting ourselves in positions that we shouldn't. So then now we have to ask ourselves why. Because it's something that we've always done. Well, if you do the same thing the same way and expect different results, that is insanity. And we have to stop it. If it's not working, stop it. Find out why it's not working. If your last 4 relationships ended up horrifically, when you see each other in the street, you're in the car, you want to run each other over. You need not to have another relationship until you deal with that. Now, I can deal with anger. I understand that anger is my issue. And every time I think that I've dealt with that anger and I'm good with it because somebody did something, I was able to be like, girl, it's all right, baby. But then there's always something that touches me where I don't want it to be touched. And then you get that look, and I tell you, don't know who you're messing with.
That's right.
And so it comes back out again. So it's always never
Always checking ourselves.
Yeah, never ending struggle to deal with that anger because I don't want it to come out.
Right.
Because it is horrifically vicious.
Right. I love that, the anger concept, because anger is always what we call a false emotion. It's always hiding either rejection, abandonment, pain, anxiety, and so what happens is we're more comfortable expressing ourselves through anger because it hides what's really going on underneath.
Wow, listen, you guys that are listening and possibly watching us on Facebook, you better start calling because you have about 10 minutes to tap into everything this woman is talking about. The number is 516-945-9099. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Determined Divas of Destiny on Rudy Radio, powered by Strong Island Entertainment, StrongIslandRadio.com. We're discussing the effects of us beating ourselves up, our mental health, and self-care. I'm in the studio with Dr. Solomon. I'm telling you, she's a wealth of information. Do not hit me up later on Facebook asking me anything. You can call right now and ask her everything. And she's going to give you, before the show ends, her information. Contact her if you're looking for a therapist, you want someone to talk to, and you do telephone, am I correct?
I do teletherapy, which is more of the visual.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's many ways of you to access her services. We can't go into 2020 the way we lived in 2019. It's time for a change. I don't know about anybody else, but I know it's a time for change for me.
Absolutely.
I'm accessing things that I never thought I could do, and I'm just not letting fear get me. I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do believe that I'm powered by a force that has complete knowledge and will give me everything that I need. So with my knees buckling, I'm going forward.
I love it. I love
know?
it because you feel like at this point you're in your labor pains and you're tired. When you get tired of being in that in-between stage, that's when you'll go ahead and go forth. Despite what's against you, there's something in you that just keeps tugging and tugging at you. That's when you know that you've had enough. People don't get to that point until when enough's enough. Oftentimes people have to get to the lowest level of feeling like, and that's so hard to actually come out of. But when you begin to, and you don't even have to have so much confidence to begin to be motivated. You just have to have faith the size of a mustard seed.
Those little steps.
Yes, those
I call them
little steps. And, being intentional in your purpose. A lot of times we don't know our purpose.
And that's staggering. Really, I couldn't even get it out because
It's the truth.
I did.
We have to deal a show with purpose.
I did a Facebook.
Oh my
on
gosh!
Saturday, and Facebook, like I said, good, bad, or indifferent, it reminds you of everything. And it popped up 2 years ago, my first show ever on the radio, when I heard my voice in my ears for the first time. I had never heard me speak, and I heard me.
Wow!
And I was like, I'm home.
Yes.
Before I left there, I said, how do I do this?
Yes.
And the person, hey, Michelle Wilson, I know you're in Atlanta, but hey, girl, hey. She said, well, you just have to call this number, and in a couple of weeks, I'm sitting in front of this microphone, and I tell you, every time you see me with a microphone in my hand, it's like, don't you even try to take it out. It is the best feeling in the world because I know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I understand that my initials are YAP, and
Right.
all I've ever done is yapped and
Love
talked.
it.
And so now I know this is who I am.
Love it. Love
And
it.
some people may say, well, why did it take you so long? Because I was so busy muddling through everything else, doing what I thought was, quote unquote, the right thing. I always knew I never wanted to do that 20-year government gig, though, because I would be the postal worker that came in, that I wouldn't shoot the place up, but I'd probably just run everybody down. Just like, boom, 200 points, boom, 200 points, boom, 10 points. I would have been the one to explode. I'm not a 20-year government worker.
Absolutely.
But I knew there was more for me. So I've changed jobs left and right. And, being at my age now, I'm like, well, I wish I would have stayed at one of them a little bit longer than what I did. But my head wasn't
Purpose
in a
was
place.
calling you.
I said, my head was in a place where I just couldn't stay.
Yes.
I just always felt like I had to go.
Yes.
And now in my life, I'm stationary.
Yes.
I'm in a stationary place. I can stay here right now.
Right.
And I can do some stuff. Someone said to me, well, why are you still single? Well, first of all, years ago, I said, Lord, I don't want to deal with anybody until you deal with me, because I got some stuff.
Y'all hear that? That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I got some stuff, and I don't want to go into another relationship with this stuff because he doesn't deserve that.
Right.
Because I'll make it his fault. And it's not. I got some stuff I have to deal with. And so then my daughter and I was talking. She said, well, how many years you going to wait for God to just... And I said, well, when he's finished, he's finished. But when you're at a place where you can be stationary, you can start
Ooh-wee.
looking at some stuff.
Yes.
I've put in roots right now. And I'm like, okay, everything is accessible to me. I can reach out and grab anything at this point and work on it. I still want to deal with those anchor memories because every now and then something comes up and says, you can't do it.
Right.
Or it comes up and says, hey, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not this, you're not this, you're not that. And that's at the point where you're at a crossroads.
Right.
So either you can pump yourself up and be Rocky, boom, 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 I'm going to do this, Or you can whip out and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not smart enough. And then the process goes past you. So now you have to wait for it to come back
around.
again. You know, evangelist told me a long time ago. I went to her, I was crying. I said, oh, I shouldn't have done this. She said, don't worry about it, baby.
It was part of it.
She said, it's a test. You fail, but the good thing is the test will keep coming around
That's right.
until you pass. So you really want to be ready to pass because you don't want to keep going through stuff trust me, I know, 7 to 10 times to keep going around
Right.
and around and around because you want to pass that test so you can go to the next one and pass that
Right.
one also.
You know, some people are probably listening or thinking, all right, it sounds good that these two beautiful young ladies are there, but I'm still at rock bottom. How do I even get to finding my purpose or being intentional? You have to figure out what's driving you.
Right.
You know, and what's your passion?
And get
And
a
right now,
notebook.
yeah, your passion may just be making it from day to day initially. Initially, just being able to be depression free
Right.
from a day-to-day basis.
And that's hard.
You know, it's very hard. So we're not trying to give you huge steps, just as the motivator said, you know, small steps, small increments. And so even though we're telling you the big picture because we want to have you ready and prepared for your 2020, you have to get up and get at it.
Right.
Get at it. You
Nobody
know,
can do it for you.
Right.
Only you. And get
Right.
that notebook. Get a
notebook.
Put on
Positive
there.
affirmations.
Yeah,
I love that.
2020. Slap on your notebook. 2020. Clear sight.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
just start writing down some stuff. What is it that you want to do? Okay, at 58, not my size, I'm never going to be a ballerina. But I sure can take a dance class.
Yes, yes,
You know?
yes. One thing about the brain that I love and I love about God, it can rewire itself.
Yes.
And so that gives hope for all of us who've actually been traumatized, who've suffered from depression, anxiety, substance abuse disorders. But in order to get the gook, to the rut, as my grandmother would say,
rut.
you have to be intentional about going deep down. And when the vulnerability of lifting all that stuff up, you have to fill it with something. And what you fill it is with positive affirmation scriptures. I have my patients all the time put scriptures all around when you go to the bathroom, above your
Everywhere.
head, you know, and positive affirmations.
Yeah.
You can get them on your phone. And once you begin to feed yourself with the positivity, it's just like what's dirt at the bottom of a cup. Whatever's at the bottom, it comes up.
And will come out.
And come
That's
out.
right. That's
And so
right.
that's why it's very, very important that, you know, as you're working through this, that's the only way. And what the brain will do, it would say, okay, let me disconnect that fear. Let me disconnect that anxiety. Because now when she takes in things through her portals, which is our senses, what we see, what we feel, what we taste, what we think,
Right.
and it reminds us of what used to be. I don't have the same feeling because I'm able to now look at it from a different perspective. So then the brain says, okay, let me unwire this. And then when this thought comes up,
And put something
else here
is
that's more
good.
positive. Yes.
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 I like
But you have to
that.
be consistent.
The great exchange.
Yes, the great exchange.
I give up all my insecurities for everything that I can be.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, if ever it was a time for women to do anything,
Now is the time.
it is now. They are shoveling money out for
Mm-hmm.
all types of education, different businesses. And if that is where you are, jump on it. Okay, go back to school. I don't care. You're 70, go back to school. I mean, we're on Facebook all the time watching 90-year-old people getting masters.
Right,
So
absolutely.
people will say, what are they going to do with it?
Absolutely.
You may not know what to do with it,
Absolutely.
but they definitely know what to do with that master, and they're going to do it. If you look at Black Panther, that woman's 80-some years
Absolutely.
old. But she always wanted to act.
Right, right.
So what she did is she raised her family, did whatever else she did, and now the money that she's making. Colonel Sanders was 65 years old.
Yes.
So there's never a time that you can say, I can't do it.
not even not deal with your issues. You know, I tell everyone, I'm not ashamed to say, I was sexually molested by a family member when I was 8 years old. And I grew up, this is choose to help someone. So y'all know we ain't perfect up here. Like we didn't just get this out of reading the book. It's experience. So I grew up with all these insecurities, and my parents were divorced. And even though my father was involved, he didn't really give me that affirmation. And so those wounds from childhood really followed me into my teenage life. And I began to feel suicidal. I began to feel not worth anything. And then because I still didn't address those wounds grew at me. So can you imagine the size from being 8 to being in your 20s?
Yeah.
Can you imagine you have a womb that's just as tall as you are, just as sophisticated as you are, just as knowledgeable with your defense mechanisms to keep,
Talking back at you.
Yes, to keep your ego in check, and it was talking to my past was talking to my present. Yeah. And my present was trying to talk to my future, but it couldn't because my past was holding me back. And that's what we're talking about. And I had to work through those issues, those vulnerabilities, so I could be healthy and could have a healthy mind and not be in remembrance in a negative way where it would make me feel anxious. But you have that freedom, and that freedom comes in regards to you walking and taking the step back in order to go forward.
You're very true. I had to deal with the fact that I was still dealing with that 7 and 10 and 12-year-old little girl. I had to move back into my mom's house, and I had to deal with that little girl that had not grown up. And I didn't realize that until those 18 months I spent in my mother's house. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I am not that person anymore.
Wow.
I'm Yvonne, the motivated man. You say you can, I say you can. Give me 30 minutes, I give you a business plan for success.
Absolutely.
Girl, come on, grow up.
Absolutely. But, that's hard.
You have to now realize you're 58 years old.
Yes.
That stuff that messed with you when you were 12, it is time to beat that in the head
Beat it up.
It happened.
Yes.
It made me feel bad.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to cry about it right now, Yvonne?
Address, yes.
If not, then we're going to let this go. We're not going to cry about it tomorrow.
And we're not going to compartmentalize it. We're going to really let it go. And
Release it.
And in order to do that, you have to forgive. Forgive is a 2-step process. I want to say, I know we're running out of time, but we always take care of our IQ, our intelligence quotient, but we don't take care of our EQ, our emotional quotient.
Look at here, girl. Child.
And because of that, we could be chronologically at one age, but stuck mentally at the age of our trauma, at the age of our family dysfunction. And you wonder why you're excelling in one area, but your emotions keep you self-sabotaging, self-defeating, because we haven't even taken care of our emotional quotient. You all need to Google that. Figure out how to assess your emotional quotient. You can have the motivator here to help you so we can get you on task. So your chronological, I'm booked. We both booked. Your chronological age needs to be synonymous with your EQ, your emotional quotient. Wow. And so that's something that we all have to tap into our emotional quotient, because that will help you with relationships, that will help you with friendships, that would help you with moving forward, that will help you on the job, understanding your emotional quotient.
It's going to help me write a program on
Yes.
that. And y'all going to pay $99 online while I sleep for it. Thank you very much.
Yes.
But listen, you guys have listened to Dr. Solomon. You understand that she has it. You're having some issues, you need somebody to talk to, contact Dr. Solomon as soon as possible. See if she has an opening. And if she doesn't contact me, I'll hold you over until you can get to it, because I refer everybody to her. Like that day I said, it's a lady in Florida. Jesus. Will you take her? You said Yvonne. But before I go, I'm almost off the air. I would be remiss if I did not say happy birthday to my middleist, Amari Najia.
Happy
Mickens.
birthday.
Happy birthday. Today you are 25. You have lived a quarter of a century, and you may finally be grown, Mari. So I hope you enjoy your day. I thank you so much for tuning in. This is Hayes and Clara's baby girl. They gave me a name that tells the world exactly what I would do. I thank you for tuning in today, and I thank you for being you. Until next time, good people, peace and blessings.
Blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Bye-bye.
Determined divas of destiny. You're in the